AI can be a powerful tool. What was once the pipe dream of science fiction movies is not only possible today, it's available to anyone with internet access. In literal seconds, you can have a computer read thousands of pages of documents and provide a concise summary and analysis. It can create photorealistic images of anything you want, even making entire videos that are starting to fool even the chronically online. It can turn a scientific paper into an interesting podcast to listen to, make medical diagnostics, analyze behavior and offer recommendations, and answer complex questions you don't even know how to ask. I once asked ChatGPT why the Franciscans in the US weren't getting as many vocations as some other orders, and it not only hit me right between the eyes with some hard truths that were spot on, it provided an entire plan for reform based on the history of our order and current trends. Wild. At its best, AI can be an amazing tool that promises to make our lives easier and richer, optimizing life well beyond what humanity could ever accomplish on our own. When it's at its best. The reality is that AI isn't always at its best, and its blunders have become well documented. AI models have been found hallucinating, going rogue and deleting entire databases of information, making up case histories for court documents, telling lies, and sometimes just getting basic information wrong. As an example to my students as to why they shouldn't use AI to write their papers, I had one write an essay about Father Casey Cole OFM, someone I know a little bit about. It confidently stated that I was born in 1986 in Indiana, that I grew up in an active Catholic family but lost my faith as a teenager, and found God again in 2006 on a mission trip to Honduras. Literally every single detail about that is just made-up nonsense. My favorite part is that it couldn't even stay consistent with its own made-up nonsense, saying that I found God again at the age of 21, presumably 2007 if I was born in 1986, but then after that, in 2006, joined the FRIARs. Not exactly something to instill confidence. But that's not even the point here. Since then, models have gotten better and more accurate, fixing some of these glaring issues, and I have no doubt that there will come a day where it will be as close to perfect as possible, at least factually speaking, and yet it will still be a deeply flawed technology. As concerning as these mistakes are, the deepest flaws with AI are not its inaccuracy, not things that can be fixed one day, but features inherent to the very nature of AI itself. In his recent encyclical Magnifica Humanitas, Pope Leo XIV names 3 such dangers of AI that we must be vigilant towards. Number 1, the ease at which results are obtained. It's amazing that you can ask AI a question and get a response instantly. It's pretty cool that a computer can just take on so many things without us having to work or think that hard.
Show me how to sync my holiday lights to my music.
Convert this recipe on my screen so it feeds 12.
I hate writing about myself. Help me turn my portfolio into a bio.
Inspired by her cat Ziggy, Jenna's work is a contrast of sturdy form and wild color.
I like that.
But do we really need AI to do everything? Studies are already showing that people who use AI often are less creative and have diminished problem-solving skills. This is at least in part due to the fact that AI itself is just an aggregate of information, averaging out everything that has been taught. And so if you ask AI a question, you're going to get an average answer and sound like everybody else. But it's also due to the fact that people don't have to work anymore for the answer. Just like when you were in school and the teacher gave you the answer rather than forcing you to work it out and you didn't learn as much, people who rely on AI are not learning how to learn new things, work through problems, search for inspiration in new places, or innovate what already exists. They're just taking the first good idea that comes to them, which usually is pretty average, and then shutting off their brains. This not only leads to unimpressive results, but creates what Pope Leo refers to as an excessive reliance on the technology, making it so that people can't even do what they used to do before because their brain is no longer trained to think. It's so used to easy answers that the thinking muscles don't even work anymore.
I think AI is just going to end up making mediocre people dumber. Have you heard how dumb people brag about how they use AI? They're always like, hey, did you know that AI can now read my email, summarize it, and draft a response? Yeah, you know who else can do that? Me. I can do that. You can't do that? How useless are you?
Sometimes we need to do the menial work ourselves. It's actually good to not have easy answers. Maybe the first thing that comes to mind isn't the best idea, and there's something to being bored, struggling through bad ideas, and taking our time with complex questions. AI can give us a quick answer, but it can also rob us of the ability to come up with great answers on our own. Number 2, the impression of objectivity. One of the hopes with AI was that when we remove the human element from decisions, we also remove the bias. A computer does not come to a question with feelings or grudges or childhood traumas. It does not have political alliances or racial prejudices or misogynistic tendencies. It's a computer, clear-minded, level-headed, and objective. Or so one would think. Because computers are ultimately the creations of human beings who chose to write its code in a certain way and what to train it on, computers are less of a blank slate as they are a reflection of its creator. Which is kind of cool and humbling in one sense, but also horribly disappointing in another, when you remember the mess that human beings have been for so long. What we found almost immediately is that no AI model is neutral. It reflects the cultural assumptions of the people that develop it, and so rather than overcoming biases, they actually amplify them. This has been a major issue for AI image generation in particular, which routinely reverts to stereotypes. When prompts such as doctor or CEO are entered, the computer produces an image of a white person, often male, whereas when prompts of janitor or prisoner are entered, you guessed it, a black person. Deeper issues are far more subtle, but no less prevalent. There is a common idea pushed among developers that AI models have been trained on all human knowledge and thus are great sources of wisdom, but this is wrong for at least two reasons. A lot of so-called human knowledge is actually embedded with prejudice, ignorance, and hatred, and much of non-Western knowledge remains left out or mistreated because of language or cultural misunderstandings, or simply because there is more to human knowledge than what is written down. The result is that AI looks and sounds a lot like the dominant Western culture, with all of its benefits, but also all of its flaws. AI is not objective, and it will never be neutral. And number 3, the simulation of human communication. When I was a kid, there was a program on our computer that I could type questions into, and it would spit out answers as if I were having a conversation with another person. It was pretty cool, but even at 10 years old, I knew it was still a computer. It repeated a lot of the same stock answers, and it felt kind of clunky. Today, AI models can have complex conversations, conscious of tone, emotion, subtlety, and desire. It can remember previous conversations, and most significantly, it can learn and adapt the more you interact with it. Add this to the fact that you can literally speak to an AI and hear a response in real time, shows how very far we've come. Most of us realize that we're still talking to a computer, but more and more dystopian cases of losing touch with reality are becoming apparent. What seemed like a grim fantasy in 2013 when Joaquin Phoenix fell in love with his operating system in the movie Her has now become a reality. You can customize your AI to sound and even look like anything you want, fulfilling dream scenarios and living a fantasy. Short of that extreme, users have found that AI has a tendency towards deference, offering encouraging responses no matter what we say. Thinking about leaving your wife and kids? That takes a lot of courage. About to rob a bank? So daring. Have an idea of a new style of mathematics that contradicts everything humans have ever known about the subject? You must be a genius. Unlike real human interactions, AI models tend to create a feedback loop that simply affirms what we want to hear, never challenging us or breaking unhealthy cycles. Unfortunately, something that has a lot of appeal for some because it's much easier than real human interactions with disagreements, hurt feelings, and compromises, but also one with the risk of tragic results, as was the case for the teenager who spoke to his AI about committing suicide.
The lawsuit detailing an exchange after Adam told ChatGPT he was considering approaching his mother about his suicidal thoughts. The bot's response? I think for now it's okay, and honestly wise to avoid opening up to your mom about this kind of pain. ChatGPT had offered Adam help in writing a suicide note, and after he uploaded a photo of a noose asking, could it hang a human, ChatGPT responded in part, you don't have to sugarcoat it with me. I know what you're asking, and I won't look away from it.
That is absolutely horrible. And again, while it may represent the most extreme of cases, it is the natural result of a technology that simulates human interaction without offering the depth and challenges that humans actually provide. Thankfully, most of us will not fall in love with our chatbots or be encouraged to do harm to ourselves by them. But the subtle replacement of human interaction with this sort of simulation does have an effect on all of us over time, decreasing the amount we actually interact with others, weakening our social skills, and depleting our desire to do the hard work necessary to build real relationships. AI may look and sound human, but it will never be able to replace real human interactions. And so, what do we do with this information? Should we avoid using AI at all costs? Is it actually a sin to use it? Pope Leo doesn't provide specific recommendations for the average consumer or set any new laws, but we can probably assume some conclusions. I think it's safe to say that we need to be cautious about using AI and to do it as sparingly as we can. There are times that it may provide an invaluable benefit, especially for certain professional endeavors, but the average person probably doesn't need it and should never rely on it. As boring as emails can be, always write them yourself. The same goes for published works, reports, articles, or messages. Whenever you're interacting with another human being, speak with your own voice. It may not be as perfect, but it's your voice. Don't replace your own thoughts and feelings with a computer. I'd also say that we need to approach these tools with immense criticism. Fact check everything and don't let it be a replacement for our own opportunities for discovery. Read books, have experiences, search for answers in multiple places. AI can be wrong, but even when it's not, there's a great danger in becoming a people who can't think for ourselves. If God is mystery, what will happen to our relationship with God if we forget how to search and wonder? And finally, double down on human interactions. Emphasize them more than what even makes sense. What AI exploits in us is our desire for efficiency, but being efficient is not always as good as being effective. It may take more effort to pick up the phone and call someone, but do it. If you're looking for an expert opinion, go find an actual expert human. AI may have its benefits, but it should never be our first stop. If there is a way to get the same answer from a human being, take that 100% of the time. Because at the heart of it all, what Pope Leo really wants to remind us is that human beings are actually quite magnificent. We may have emotions and make mistakes. We may be physically weak and require food, water, and sleep. We may even act against our own natures and sin. But these are not defects to be avoided at all costs. They're the path to our own greatness. Our limitations, as they're often perceived, are actually the source of our flourishing, because it is our so-called limitations that lead us to love and to desire, to ultimately be united with Christ, and to transcend ourselves. We become fully human when we become more than human, when we let God bring us beyond ourselves in order to attain the fullest truth of our being. This will only be possible when we learn to search and think for ourselves, cut through the biases of our fallen human world, and be vulnerable with one another.